Welcome to a galaxy far, far away. Here at the Cantina Podcast, we provide top shelf service, including rumors, leaks, news, and reviews. Come in, order a Loman Ale, and remember, no droids allowed. And hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cantina here on the GenreVerse YouTube channel and GenreVerse Podcast Network. Give us a subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on your favorite podcast app. I'm Kyle. That's Cam. Check out lrmonline.com every day for all written news, needs, and opinions. Written reviews such as Cam's written review of the Mandalorian episode, the Mandalorian Season 3 episode 7. I actually took a peek at your written review, Cam, and people are going to be quite surprised by us today, given the history we have on this season and our grades sometimes being quite apart and sometimes not being so quite apart. But tell the good folks who haven't read your review what you thought about Mando Season 3 Episode 7.
Yeah, non-spoiler review. I would say I really enjoyed it. I thought it was I think it's the start of a traditional Mando 2-part finale. It was a good setup in general. I thought there were some good moments, some of humour, some emotional, some good action. I thought the action was well put together. Some sort of we get some heroism, some grief, all of those kind of emotions mixed in. There was a bit of character development for some of our leads this time, which we haven't had recently. And overall, it was a fairly strong episode. My only sort of criticisms really about it are that it's a very similar setup. I don't know if the execution will be the same to what we had in Mando Season 1 and Mando Season 2 as well. It kind of feels like, a bit predictable, shall I say. However, there could be, and I may be looking too much into it, there's a bit of speculation I would like to do on a few things for this week. But you know, that's where I am at the moment. I thought it was pretty good. Certainly up there as I'd say equal to the episode. What was the other one that we scored? Yeah. I think I gave that one an A-, and I gave the same score to this one as an A-. I really enjoyed it, and I would watch it again and have fun watching it again.
Just realized I'm looking in the corner of my eye, and I've got purple lights behind me because we were recording another show, and those of you that have seen multiple shows here on the GenreVerse know that I tend to change my lights to match the theme
show
of what we got going on. So there we go. That's better.
It's the Cal Disco Light Show.
There you go. So I am mostly in agreement. The worst part of this episode for me was the cyberpunk intro. I've been a big hater of non-traditional Star Wars orchestral music. If it was music just barely heard in the background, I would have been maybe okay with it, like in a bar or something like that. But even with Andor, which is a show that I praise, I was like, I don't like these drums and guitar. Harumph. You know, that's me. I don't like it. It doesn't feel as Star Warsy. And plus it was kind of campy because it was just that one thing. It was like, look, we're in Neon Alley on Electric Town, Akihabara in Japan, where we're replicating the Blade Runner feel, and we're tapping into the cyberpunk thing going on in the world right now. And then it was done, and it's like, yeah, I kind of get what you were wanting to do, but it just felt out of place. So that was the worst part for me. I think having the probe droid was kind of like, you guys should have done something different, man. Radio communications over the open like that is usually you don't do that in Star Wars, you know. But I mean, look in Andor, how much they went through to hide communications that Luthen is doing. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah, that was
just
my
like in a dark corner.
Not very good or they're a little bit overconfident at this point.
Exactly.
You know, I get that.
So there's some thin writing in here, but dude, oh my God, you get a lot of really good action. You get some plot movement forward finally in this season. You get some really cool fights. I really enjoy a knife fight that happens in the episode. And other than some corny costume choices for Gideon at the end, you get a lot of really cool stuff. So I also gave this an A-, the same grade that I gave the Convert.
So we both were exactly the
Cam
same
and I
on both those
the
episodes.
same page, man.
That is
same
strange.
page again.
And it's only that twice for those two episodes where it's happened as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've had other reviews where we're more in tune with each other, but yeah, not too much to little things, nothing horrible, solid episode. Where has this Mando been all season?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. That is a good question, because I think the answer to that is they had a story and they kind of didn't have it. Was quite simple, and therefore they just had to fill space, and that's what a lot of this season has felt like to me, especially last week, which just felt like it just didn't need to be there. No one gets any development out of that we need getting into this finale. You know, it's just not really there.
Almost like this in season, what will become season 4, almost like they should have been one big season instead of 2.
Yeah, I'm actually going to retract my statement on that, because we actually got to spend a bit of time with Din and Bo as a team, which has been kind of a theme of this season.
Yeah.
And that could be leading somewhere, which could be therefore relevant to just give them a bit more time together. That being said, I kind of think of, off the top of my head, 600 or 700 different ways of doing that episode differently and still giving them the time together. But I am with you on that. Just to counter one of the things that you said, I actually like that kind of neon, because it kind of just feels to me like underground Coruscant, like low level.
I don't
shit,
mind the
you know?
I don't mind the look. It's the music and what they did with
the way they did it in the Clone Wars. But I also am not a fan of not using orchestral sort of music. I think you could have went for a similar vibe, but still just kept it more.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. The cyberpunk feel from the music, not the aesthetic. The aesthetic's fine. I don't mind the look. Okay. The neon lights are fine. It was the total package with the music, and you know what they were going for. And I agree about the probe droid as well. That it was. I didn't like that. Yeah. The look of it is fine. I have no issues. Although I think there should have been more hologram neon lights than actual physical neon lights. But no, it was the fact that they went for. My thoughts were that it was cheaper down there. It was the back place, you know, so that, you know, it wasn't up where the rich people are. But I mean, maybe it was just a design choice or a fun, you know. Anywho, you want to dig into some spoilers. So
yeah, there's some stuff to talk about. Yeah.
Let's. You know what? I have to, because I'm an EU stan. So we get the name of Thrawn dropped a whole bunch in this episode. People challenging Thrawn's G. You know, you got to test his G, and lo and behold, and I knew that he still existed, of course, because of Zahn's redone books, but we haven't seen him. I have never heard his name said. I think he was in one of the cartoons, Bad Batch or Rebels. But goddamn, Gilead Pelion, man, Captain Pelion, one of the best EU characters ever to exist. I mentioned this in our Discord. He was a technically it would have been Imperial Navy, so he was a sailor's sailor. No, but he was a soldier's soldier. He was a true leader, honor, integrity, duty, leadership. He might not have always seen eye to eye with his government, but he saw eye to eye with the order and the just all of that, and he was always written so well, and regardless of the author that used him, they did a lot of really good. Yes, he's not
someone that would have been a good soldier if they were in the New Republic Army as well.
Oh my God,
that would have been the duty that they were following. They just think they're doing the right thing and following orders and being a good soldier. I get that.
And he bucked command several times. He questioned Thrawn several times. He was such a good character. The actor, I don't know if he did the Rebels voice or anything like that, but he did a great job. That's what I heard in my mind when I think of Pelion. Felt great. I dug that, man. That as someone who has been an EU fan forever, and I am lukewarm on Thrawn in canon, but that's because Heir to the Empire, man, is just so iconic, and these stories, especially the stuff with Vader, haven't felt as
we haven't
iconic.
got there yet, but I kind of hope what we're building to is that kind of thing with the Dave Filoni movie.
So,
and it seems as if, like, although Gideon is the like baddie of the week every season so far, it feels like we're building up to Thrawn, you know, because it's almost like a Thanos thing at this point, you know what I mean, when they're mentioning Thrawn's name, and like Gideon's like, you've been saying for years Thrawn will come back, he's never going to come back. That's kind of how you know, he's still coming back, you know. And actually, it wouldn't surprise me if we get some sort of ending scene in season 3 where like Gideon's talking to the Shadow Council or something, and you know, blah 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 blah.
Post credits,
like, Thrawn appears in the hologram.
His hologram,
and he's like, you know what I mean?
Behind Pelion.
I didn't think you were real. Something like that would actually be quite cool. Maybe a tease into Ahsoka, obviously, because obviously we know now, confirmed 100% he's in Ahsoka. So, so it'd be a nice little tease into that show as well. So yeah, good.
Yeah. I mentioned sticking with villains to kind of keep it organized for timestamps. I mentioned how certain costume choices at the end with Gideon. I get it. I get the crown helmet with the little crown spikes on it, but it's still very cartoony. Like it doesn't quite fit the Gideon that you see in season 1.
I think the thing is, it is cartoony though. I agree with you actually. I don't think it was the best design suit, right?
No,
I looked at it and I went, you know, it's a bit Power Rangers.
Most of the suit I'm okay
I like the
with.
other guys, like the troopers. I thought were actually quite cool.
They
new
were
design,
cool.
some a bit different. It was like, that was quite cool.
Yeah.
Well, I thought his was a bit too all black and shiny for me. I have to say, but in terms of the little horns, it could be a key lore point because those horns represent Death Watch, who all served Darth Maul, who took over Mandalore during the Clone Wars. So before the kind of rise of the Empire, just before Order 66. Yeah. And now Bo-Katan's talking about how she surrendered to Gideon. So where's, you know, what you've got to remember is Maul was pre that. And you also notice the armor has them as well. The armorer.
Yes, she does. I guess I didn't even think about it with
you know,
her,
they say this week, your Death Watch, and she says Death Watch doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. It's still, I guess, because of who he is why it kind of felt cartoony to me, because it was more of like, I saw it as a leadership type thing.
You know, Esposito can have it up when he needs to.
Yeah.
With luckily, he's a good enough actor, actually, that he can sometimes get away with that and it's not too campy. Because that could come across. I mean, you can imagine like just somebody else doing that and you just laughing at it, actually, rather than feeling it menacing. But I think the design could have been a bit more. I don't know what I want, actually. That's the thing. I don't know what I want. You'd need to show me a ton of designs and I would go,
it needed to be a little bit more utilitarian. It needed to look a little bit more functional.
Flashy.
Yeah, more functional.
Less shiny as well. You know, it's the shiny black. It's like someone's polished it all up too nice, you know. I want to see it get dirty. But
let's talk about, I guess, the Mandalorians stuff. So the good guys, you know, the breaking onto the planet was cool. Yeah. I liked seeing the fleet whenever you aren't relying on mixing the live action with the shots that you do on the volume or your pre-rendered CGI. It looked good, looked fine. They actually had a lot more.
Looked really good. When they came into Navarro at first, that episode was cool.
And when you get to some of the fights, they actually got a shit ton of Mandalorians. Now they split them up into smaller groups to get into the fights, but there's times where you feel like I feel like there's quite a bit
scale. They felt like scale. And sometimes when we've had that little people, and it maybe, maybe all it is, it's maybe just 2 or 3 extra people and a couple of smarter shots that's needed here and there, and the way that you shoot it. So if you'd had everybody just on one side and everybody here, and they just fought across from each other, it might have looked small scale, but the kind of way they were all mixed in together and there was separate fights going on made it look busy. So I felt it looked big scale for there not that many people.
Yeah, I get that. So I dug all of that. The little story elements of bringing the two together, and the survivors that stuck on the ship. That was another complaint that I had. It was a complaint that I almost dropped this down to a B+ for. Was the earthly sailing talk on their skimmer. On the skimmer ship, the surviving Mandalorians. They
talk about the bow and stuff like that.
But it's not just because you use starboard and bow and all of that in Star Wars anyways. It was the inflection. It was that they were doing that we're seafaring, we're the British Empire, not the pirates type. And again, it's a small thing, but I hate being pulled back to Earth. You already had the space pirates acting like Pirates of the Caribbean. It wasn't that bad, but there was enough of a delivery style where you kind of got that, hey, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. This is more maritime stuff. I don't like that, and come on now. I'm trying to get away from this godforsaken rock. That's why I'm watching Star Wars, not to be reminded of it. But I love the knife fight. The knife fight between Axe, whatever the frack, and the other guy.
And I love how it ended as well. I thought that was like the perfect way for it to end. That was cool. That Grogu just steps up and spams the no button. No. When it comes to Grogu, so there's finally the suit, that had been rumored a while ago. Yeah, we got that rumored a long time ago, and it was right. Yeah. We kind of saw it coming when they did the whole IG-11 thing at the start. We're like, this is going to happen later on.
How do you think it was executed, Cam?
Surprisingly well, because in your head you envisage this, and I didn't get it. I didn't get the sort of necessity of it. But I think what sold me on it is not as it's just a mode of transport, it's the communication options that it gives them.
Yeah, that is pretty cool too.
That's what made it work, and it actually is a great addition to the series. Even though he can only say yes or no, this is like a step up my level of communication. And when he was running about at first, the yes, no scene, I just thought that was so well written. And actually it was funny, but yet it was like emotional almost at the same time, because you can feel the freedom that Grogu has, that he can suddenly communicate even in these very simple ways. Maybe he had that with Luke, but he's never really had that with his dad, if you like, so far. So to give him that and move him one step along without him having to say words yet, although it's going to come eventually. I just thought that was a really excellent way to do it. It was well designed.
There was only one issue I had with Grogu in the mech suit. And when he's having fun pushing the yes button, he's super excited, and they're walking down the street. They've left the office. You can hear him pushing the button. He's not actually pushing the button. Like, the puppet is not pushing the button, and the shot is on there. The shot is on there for quite a while. And then there's another scene where, again, this is editors and potentially script editors, script supervisors, if I'm not mistaken, would be the people to eyeball here, looking at you. When he stops the fight, you see his arms clearly out, but then they show other shots and the arms are down. but he's supposed to be holding them up at the same time. It's kind of like, a near shot, a far shot. So whenever they're showing the near shot, his arms are down and you can see them hanging straight down.
That, as far as I know, that's the continuity director that would deal with that.
There you go. There's the
you're supposed to basically watch it to make sure things like that make sense as you go along. Yeah.
Little things that I caught.
All movies, all continuity directors miss things. TV shows miss things. Check it online and you'll find cars driving through Middle Earth and all sorts of stuff. It's there.
Yeah.
But
one's funny too.
Sometimes you notice it, and it does.
So yeah. But even the reason why I kind of bring it up is even with all of that, because of how much was actually executed well and how much this felt like an episode of The Mandalorian, I was able to be a bit more forgiving. I was still annoyed because of everything that's come before, but it's like, no, man, they kind of. But at the exact same time, it makes me.
But you still had a good time.
It makes me more angry because it's like, where was this? Why did you give me Davy Broccoli
honestly,
when you could have given me this?
I think they knew where they wanted this season to go and where the next season had to go, but they didn't have enough story, so they went, right, well, we need to give them some side quests to get till we get to this point, because we've known where this has been going since like episode 1. This has been building up, and especially since the convert episode and the mention of what's happening there, you could see where this was all going. But then they went side quest for ages, and they didn't even. I mean, like Mando didn't even get that droid part back for IG-11. He just comes back at some point and they've done something else with IG-11 instead. Which, in continuity-wise, you're a bit like, that's my issue with this whole season. It feels like they really planned out about 3 or 4 episodes worth of content, and then treaded water for ages and went, shit, we've ran out of time, I need to quickly write another few things that can go in. They just weren't of the same quality as the context around about it. And that's all it is. It makes me wonder sometimes whether Jon Favreau needs to bring in sometimes some other writers as well, because I think he wrote most of season 3 and season 4 on his own, and I think sometimes he maybe needs to. I'm sure he's getting a Dave Filoni influence on all these scripts anyway, because the two of them talk about everything that they're doing. But it's almost when he's doing one of these standalone episodes saying, I've got an idea, but let somebody else come up with maybe some ideas as well and see what they can come up with for some standalone episodes, because we're going to keep getting them. And sometimes, like in season 2, there was some good standalone episodes, and there have been in season 1 as well, but quite often they just fall flat and they don't feel like they add anything, and that's why we get such a disjointed season, and it has been a disappointing season.
I agree.
Until now, and now it's kind of good again.
And we'll see how the finale ends up. It sucks that this feels, like I said, it feels like it's almost like they should have saved the 2.5 episodes for this season instead of the other filler we got. Cut out the garbage. Get rid of the Caribbean space pirates, and Davy Broccoli, and you actually have a pretty solid season.
Pirates aren't even an issue. It's the fact it's the design of them and the way that they were done.
Talk.
You can have space pirates.
That's
keep
it.
Being
Absolutely.
Space pirates, just fix the way
fix
they
the
look
design
and
talk. Yep. It's crazy when we're happy our episodes are so much shorter, because I don't know if I have anything else to talk about. Do you have anything else on this?
The only thing I really wanted to talk about was a bit of speculation, right? And
that's right.
I found it curious. If you look at all the episode titles of this season so far, they've all kind of had a dual meaning. Remember the convert, the apostate. There's been 2 possible. And yet this one was called The Spies. And the only spy we ever really see in this episode is, I forget her name now, sorry, at the start. I
don't remember her.
I can't remember the character name. I can't remember. And that's like, 30 seconds and then it's away, right? And that's the only spy then in the rest of that episode. And I'm starting to wonder whether, and this, I hope I don't spoil this for him if I get this right. This is just kind of what I do, speculating some of this stuff, so sorry.
Oh yeah, it happens.
But I'm kind of wondering whether there is spies in the midst of the Mandalorians as well. So that Mandalorian camp's that Imperial camp must have been there for a long time. But yet those Mandos, the ones that were still on the planet for all that time, have been floating about for 10 years.
Yeah.
And they've never come across an Imperial armory that's built into the ground and all that sort of stuff. So I'm starting to wonder whether those injured guys that are going up are actually going to infiltrate to the inside or something like that, and there's going to be more spies. There's also been a lot of speculation online, right, that the armour isn't quite in the armour, or with having the horns, everything, that she's actually really working for Gideon.
We've heard that,
I've thought about this, but there's too many points where she's done things that wouldn't help Gideon for me and would only help her own people. Maybe, I'm not saying that she's completely, we know our goals at this moment in time. I'm not saying that. But I don't think she could be working for Gideon. At the start of the show, Gideon's very surprised to find that the Mandalorians have come together, and he doesn't seem very happy about that. Yeah. She's kind of the one that did that. If she was working for him, he would know about that. That wouldn't be a surprise to him, because there was a lot of people saying like she funneled them in there basically and then buggered off back to the ship. But actually, I don't see that. And if they do go down that route, then I don't think they've sold it enough, because there'll be too many points where I'd look back and go, but why would you do this? Why would you do that? But I could see potentially there being actual spies amongst the so-called injured that are being sent up for some sort of conflict.
It wouldn't be an impossibility for sure, man. For sure.
That's really all I had. And I guess I reckon that we could maybe get a Grand Admiral Thrawn tease at some point at the very end. I hope that doesn't just end with Gideon being captured again. I'd rather, at least if he's defeated or he's not defeated, whatever, he gets away, kind of thing. I don't know, but
I don't know. I agree with you that I don't think I want the armor to necessarily be a turncoat or a betrayer of some sort. It would, like you said, almost seem like a lazy, I don't want to say lazy writing. I know Janet hates us calling things lazy writing, but it would seem poor. I would say it would seem poor, like just unimaginative.
Ill-advised.
Yeah.
Not set up properly for me. But, something feels to me as if there's something we're missing, though. And I'm maybe giving it too much credit, and it's just all exactly as you see it on screen, in which case, fair enough. But the Spies is such a strange name for the episode if there's nothing else going on there. That's all I'm saying.
I agree. Well, any other thoughts on Mandalorian season 3,
Looking forward to
episode
next
7? Week. Yeah, I do too. And then the week after, we will be back on our regular news Cantina schedule, which we did do a big recap for Star Wars Celebration. You guys can catch that here on the GenreVerse YouTube channel or GenreVerse podcast network, wherever you get your podcast from. On YouTube, man, one of the best ways to consume our material is through the playlists. Go to the playlist tab on the channel. You can go watch the Cantina reviews. Our Star Wars reviews are broken down in playlists. Our anime stuff, Marvel stuff, Daily Cog and Breaking Geek. Cover everything you can imagine in entertainment. Like I said, if it's not a reaction video, it goes up on all your favorite podcast apps. So give us a subscribe, give a follow, like, share, dislike if you have to. Just let us know why. It's all interaction. We'll take it. And of course, LRMonline.com for written reviews, celebrity interviews from the LRM YouTube channel, and more. Cam, anything else?
Yeah, on LRM Online, we literally have a Star Wars button that you can press if you just want to look at Star Wars news.
Yep.
And unless it's not worth covering, we've covered it if it's Star Wars news. So all the written stuff, all the details, all the rumours that are from reputable sources, not the crazy stuff that people just band about that we know are telling lies, but the reputable sources, we tend to cover that up to a point as well. So
Yep. All right, guys, that's it. We'll see you on the next one. May the Force be with you.